Although the energy infrastructure of the area are craving for attention, that does not still diminish the majestic nature of the hidden tourism treasure. Osun State, the land of many living springs, holds numerous hidden treasures waiting to be explored. Next time you're in Osun State, plan a picnic and spend the day with undiluted, untainted nature. Visit Pakiti Lake and explore Osun with me. This is your call to adventure. Discover the undiscovered, unveil the unseen, experience the untouched beauty of Osun State. Explore, engage, and be inspired.
Can you imagine the feeling when you get your news as they break with fact and clarity? How entertaining do you want your entertainment news?
There can only be one African queen!
What about sport?
What a touch from Welbeck! Piece of improvisation! Instinctive thinking to have this.
Don't you want your sport analysis delivered by knowledgeable hosts? Top trending news served hot and juicy as the break. Western Spring Television, WSTV, your urban Yoruba channel for news.
Western Spring Television, ours it is.
On the news tonight, federal government directs vice chancellors of federal universities to enforce no work, no pay policy against ASU members on strike. Lagos state government rearranged convicted billionaire kidnapper known as Evans on fresh murder charge. Nyesom Wike says no judge of the FCT will live in rented apartment by end of president's first tenure. On the foreign scene, Hamas releases 20 living hostages still being held since October 2023 attacks in Israel. Good evening, this is News at 7 on Western Spring Television. My name is Okpayemuni. The federal government on Monday said it has addressed every request made by the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU, adding that there was no need for the union to go on strike. According to the Minister of Education, Tuji Alausa, claims that the government has been slow or unwilling to respond to the union's demands were incorrect. Meanwhile, the federal government has directed vice chancellors of federal universities across the country to strictly enforce the no work, no pay policy against members of the Academic Staff Union of Universities currently participating in the ongoing nationwide strike. The directive was contained in a circular dated October 13. The occasion expressed dissatisfaction over reports of a continued industrial action by ASU despite repeated calls for dialogue, stressing that government will no longer tolerate non-compliance with extant labor laws. On judicial matters, the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, had said that President Bola Tinubu will ensure that no judge of the FCT will be living in a rented apartment by the end of the president's first tenure. The minister stated this on Monday during the flag off of the design and construction of residencies for the heads of courts of the FCT, adding that the era where judges stay in rented quarters will come to an end. Speaking during the flag off on Monday, Wike clarified that the heads of courts, including the president of the Court of Appeal, the chief judges of the Federal and FCT High Courts, and the judge of the National Industrial Court, will retire with houses constructed for them. It noted that the development was with the approval of the president, adding that a seal of oaths had been issued in the names of individuals. In his address, the Minister of Justice and Attorney General of the Federation, Lateef Fagbemi, said the provision of accommodation for heads of court will enhance, among others, institutional dignity of the judiciary, thereby enabling the discharge of their duties with focus and authority.
And let me make it clear. What we are doing today is not just for heads of court when they retire, they go. No. As they are retiring, the property becomes their own. And that is approval of Mr. President. And that is why we issued the CFOs in their names. So any of you who are here now, don't think that when they are leaving tomorrow, you see people writing on pages of newspaper. Retired Chief Judge of FCT has taken our house. Retired Chief of Federal High Court has converted our house. The President of National Industrial Court has converted the House of National Industrial Court. The President of Court of Appeal has done the same. Please, the policy of Mr. President, this set of courts, as they are retiring, must go home with their houses. And that is the true position.
While the Lagos State government has rearranged convicted billionaire kidnapper Chukwu Dumeme Onwuamadike, popularly known as Evans, on a fresh murder charge involving the deaths of two police officers. Evans and his co-defendant Joseph Emeka were rearranged before Justice Ademola Adeleke on a 5-count charge bordering on murder, attempted murder, and conspiracy to commit kidnapping. The case was transferred from Justice Adenike, and according to the charge, Evans and his co-defendant allegedly killed two policemen, Peter Nweke and Chijioke Ngozi, on August 27, 2013, around 10 p.m. at Festac Town, Lagos. The court adjourned the matter to November 19, 2025, for hearing and issuance of witness summons. It will be recalled that Evans has already been convicted before another court and is currently serving sentences for 2 of his 5 criminal cases. Now talking security, the Inspector General of Police, Kayode Egbetokun, has described the passage of the Police Institute Establishment Bill and the Nigeria Police Trust Fund Amendment Bill 2025 as a major milestone that will usher in a new. In a statement on Monday by the Force Public Relations Officer, CSP Benjamin Hundeyin, Egbetokun commended the leadership and members of the National Assembly for their patriotic commitment to strengthening the Nigeria Police through crucial legislative intervention. According to him, the 2 new laws, the Police Institute Establishment Act and the Nigeria Police Trust Fund Amendment Act, represent a significant leap in the ongoing reform and modernization efforts of the force. He also expressed deep appreciation to President Bola Tinubu for assenting to the bills, describing the move as a clear demonstration of the administration's resolve to modernize and professionalize policing in the country. Here in Osun, the state governor, Ademola Adeleke, has said the task of probing the state commander of Amotekun Corps, Adekunle has been handed over to retired Assistant Inspector General of Police, Wale Abbas. Abbas, currently serving as the chairman of the Amotekun Board, Adeleke said has a duty to ensure a thorough investigation of the roles of Omoyele in the recent killing of 3 residents of Akinlalu town by the operatives of the Corps. Adeleke, who stated these in Akinlalu on Monday during a condolence visit to the community, further assured the victims that justice will be served in the matter. The governor also promised good health care for all those injured in the attack, adding that his priority was to ensure the return to good health. In Kebbi, the state government has rejected reports claiming that bandits attacked Makuku village in Sakaba local government area, labeling the news as false and misleading. In a statement issued on Monday, the chief press secretary to the Kebbi state governor, Ahmed Idris, clarified that the incident actually took place in Rijau, a community in neighboring Niger State, not in Kebbi, He further stated that the military base established in Sakaba by the state government had strengthened security in the area. Idris urged residents to disregard the report and go about their normal activities, reaffirming that security agencies were fully supported to maintain peace across the state. The state's denial of the alleged bandit attack on Makuku village is part of an ongoing effort to combat such misinformation operations. In the meantime, the Rivers State Police Command said its operatives have busted a child trafficking syndicate that manipulates young mothers and vulnerable pregnant women, steals their babies, and sells them to waiting buyers. The police said the four-member syndicate is led by an ex-convict identified as Blessing Jack, who had previously been arrested, tried, and imprisoned in Calabar, Cross River State, for a similar offense. The spokesperson for the State Police Command, Grace Iringekoko, disclosed this in a statement issued in Port Harcourt on Monday. Iringekoko said Blessing, aged 54, was arrested by men of the command's C4I intelligence unit on October 9 in Iguruta near Port Harcourt, following a discreet probe into the activities of the syndicate. He said Blessing's arrest led to the location of her other 3 female partners, who were consequently taken into custody. 21,000 Nigerians affected by flood disasters across the country are to benefit from a federal government interest-free loan totaling 6.3 billion naira. The Minister of State for Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Reduction, Yusuf Sununu, disclosed this on Monday at a roundtable event to mark this year's International Day for Disaster Risk Reduction in Abuja. Sununu said the intervention is to mitigate the impact of flooding in the country and address its consequences on food security. He also disclosed that the federal government has also reached 8.1 million households with over 300 billion naira through a conditional cash transfer scheme. The minister further disclosed that various efforts to empower displaced persons through a scheme that will provide a ready market for the products were underway. While the federal government has called for increased investment in disaster preparedness and resilience mechanisms to reduce the impact of disasters in the country. Speaking at the 2025 International Day for Disaster Risk Reduction in Abuja, Vice President Kashim Shettima said that it is wiser, cheaper, and more humane to prepare for disasters before they strike than to rebuild after they destroy. He stated that the government is strengthening state and local emergency management agencies through training, technology, and coordination support. The VP also urged academia and research institutions to provide data-driven research for informed decision-making and civil society to raise awareness and hold institutions accountable. In Lagos, the state government has announced plans to begin full enforcement actions against individuals and organizations involved in illegal land reclamation and waterfront encroachment across the state. This was contained in a statement signed and released by the Commissioner for Environment and Water Resources, Tokunbo Wahab, on Monday. According to the statement, the enforcement will commence on Wednesday, October 15, 2025, following the expiration of a 7-day ultimatum earlier issued. Wahab noted that the grace period for compliance and cessation of all illegal reclamation activities expired on the 5th of September, September 25, 2025, adding that the government would now proceed with a strict implementation of environmental laws. Wahab emphasized that the measures were necessary to protect the environment, prevent flooding, and ensure public safety, while he also warned residents against patronizing or purchasing land from illegal reclamation operators to avoid falling victim to government sanctions. Now to politics. The Independent National Electoral Commission has accredited 121 domestic and international organizations to observe the Anambra State governorship election. Accredited foreign observers include the British High Commission, the European Union, and the High Commission of Canada, among others. On the domestic front, Organizations such as Yaga Africa Initiative, the Electoral Hub, and the Center for Democracy and Development have been cleared to monitor the exercise. The observers are expected to assess the conduct of the election and report on its transparency, credibility, and compliance with democratic standards. INEC had earlier confirmed that 2.8 million voters are registered to participate in the election stated for Saturday, November 8, 2025. Still in politics, leaders of the northern part of the country on Monday visited the leadership of a pan-Yoruba socio-political organization, Afenifere, to declare their collaboration with the Southwest in supporting President Bola Tinubu's re-election in 2027. The northern leaders, under the aegis of the Arawa think tank, said they were impressed with the midterm scorecard of the president, hence they moved to support him to run for a second term. The convener of the group, Mahmoud Yakubu, led a team from the north to visit leaders of Afenifere and a resident of its national leader, Ruben Fashoranti, in Akure, the Ondo State capital. Speaking on behalf of Ruben Fashoranti, a former secretary to the government of the Federation and monarch of Iluabo community in Ondo State, Obaolu Falai, lauded the visitors for their wish to collaborate with Southerners in supporting the President Tinubu administration. Falai expressed hope that the administration would benefit the entire country, given the ongoing economic reforms embarked upon by the Tinubu administration. In other news, the Director General of the National Orientation Agency, NOAA, Malam Lanre Isaonilu, says the Nigeria Customs Service recorded over 6 billion naira in September. Isaonilu made this known at the monthly National Joint Security Press